I am making some changes. So let's talk about it. Well, it is 5:10 in the morning, and I'm waiting for my son to wake up. It's my turn to get him today, but I wanted to wake up with enough time before he woke up to have some time to myself, to drink my coffee in peace, to sit in the chair and just cuddle up with the blanket and my coffee and relax. It's been a stressful year for everybody, but I'm trying my best to incorporate some self-care back into my daily routine. I feel like I've been missing that ever since I became a mom, and I feel like it is so important. So while the boys are sleeping, Mama's gonna sit in her chair, drink some coffee, and just relax. Hey everyone, like I said earlier, we're gonna be talking a little bit about self-care. Now, if you hear something in the background, today the daycare was closed because of bad weather. And so I'm at home and working. This is my lunch break, and I decided to try and get him to take a little bit of a nap. And so he is laying down, but he's really fighting it. So you might hear him a couple of times in the background, but I'm gonna try and get through this video. It's something that I've been thinking about posting for a while, and I just hadn't done it yet. But I wanna talk about why I feel like it's important to incorporate self-care into your daily routine, and a little bit about why I haven't been doing that. So for those of you who have followed me on Instagram for the last few years, you're probably pretty familiar with my fitness and weight loss journey. For those of you who aren't, I'm gonna go ahead and recap it just a little bit. The first thing I wanna talk about is why I wanna do a little bit more to incorporate self-care into my routine. I really have been struggling with a little bit of identity crisis ever since I became a mom, and I kind of let myself go and focused so much on raising my son that I wasn't focused on taking care of myself. And I really want to do a better job of taking care of myself. And so part of what I'm going to be doing for my self-care is waking up a little bit earlier each day so that I can have some peace and quiet and alone time. I never realized how much I liked that, and I've never liked the mornings. I am not a morning person, but I feel like the only way for me to get peace and quiet and alone time is if I wake up early and I get that time before everybody else is up. So that's what I'm trying to do. Just trying to do it a little bit slowly, maybe every other day, waking up early, and then just, increasing it from there. But today I woke up extra early. I drank my coffee. I had some alone time about an hour before my son woke up, and it was so good for me. It put me in a little bit better headspace and really just helped me to start my day off right. So that's one of the things that I'm going to be doing. Another thing I'm doing is I'm trying really hard to do things for myself, like things that I'm interested in, hobbies. One of my hobbies is painting and making home decorations. So I've been really focused on that this last year, and I've done pretty good at staying consistent with making sure I have time for that. Another thing that I really enjoy is reading, which I plan on incorporating into my mornings. I used to read all the time, but since becoming a mom, I find it really difficult to have the peace and quiet that I need in order to read. I'm not one of those that can read with a lot of background noise or, a bunch of things going on. I just can't focus. So I really need that quiet and peaceful setting in order to read. So I'm really excited. I've got a list of books that I want to start reading again. And then the next thing I really want to start doing for myself is getting back in shape. As I mentioned, those that have followed me on my Instagram know that this has been something that I have been working on and struggling with really my entire life. I've always been a little bit overweight, and I do have a couple of health issues that are partially responsible for that, but really only a small portion of why I struggle with the weight. But I would say that the earliest memory I have of being made fun of or being called fat or just being bigger than the other kids my age was second grade. And, I can remember wearing shorts to school and a boy telling me that my legs were too fat for shorts and that I shouldn't wear them. And so that, coupled with some other things, kind of led me to having some body image issues and a little bit of a lack in confidence. And then when I went to college, I really kind of started working on myself and working out. I started doing CrossFit. I started taking Advocare supplements and focused on clean, healthy eating and got myself into a pretty decent routine. I started Advocare in 2012 and lost about 30 pounds with my first challenge. And then after my first challenge, I maintained for a couple of years. And right after I graduated college, I got my first big girl job, if you will. I majored in animal science, livestock production. So I got a job working on a big commercial farm that was not far from where I was living. And I was really excited about it. I really liked the work that I was doing. But I also was really struggling with self-confidence and body image issues. And so I actually started starving myself in 2014. I maybe ate 500 calories a day, maybe. And, keep in mind, I was working on a farm and working really hard. It was a very physically demanding job. And so I was burning a lot of calories. And so by about June of 2014, I was the smallest, weight-wise that I've ever been in my adult life and ever really remember being. And I looked great, but I wasn't healthy at all. I was starving myself to look like that. And, that's just not sustainable. And that started, as soon as I stopped starving myself because I realized it was an issue, that started my very rapid weight gain. And I would say in June of 2014, I was about 175 pounds. And by June of the next year, I was 275 pounds. And I was really, just really depressed, and I hated who I was. I hated how I looked. I have always struggled with, and I know in my head that this isn't the right way to think of things, but I've always struggled with, if you're fat, you're not worthy. And I think a lot of that has to do with our culture and just the way that the media portrays women, and just, a lot of things kind of contributed to that. But I've always really struggled with that. And so in 2015 and 2016, I was probably the most depressed I'd ever been. I also started drinking a lot. And when I say a lot, like every day, a lot. And it really came to be a big problem for me. And I never really noticed how bad it was until my best friend invited me to go to the lake with her and her family. And we were having a great time, but I was really, really upset the day that we all decided we were gonna do a little bit of water skiing. And all of her cousins were able to get up on the skis and have a great time. And I used to water ski when I was younger. I never had a problem getting up on the skis. And so, I wanted to do it. And I tried, and I tried, and I tried. And I couldn't get up on the skis. And that was really a heartbreaking moment for me. Like, I'm so out of shape that I can't hold myself up on skis. My legs were really sore, my arms hurt, and I was really frustrated, and I gave up. And then later in the trip, we took a group picture, and I'll try to post it here. And I had never taken pictures of my full body. I would always take pictures of just my face. And so I never really saw my full body other than what I saw in the mirror, which is always distorted a little bit. And so when I saw that picture, it really hit home how unhealthy, how miserable, how unhappy I was. And I wanted to make a change. I didn't want to do it the way that I had done it before, by starving myself, because I knew that that wasn't right and that wasn't sustainable. And so pretty much right then and there in that moment, I decided I was going to give up drinking, and I was going to research and find a healthy diet that I could stick to, and I was going to take it slow. I was going to start exercising, and I was going to get control of the body image issues and the eating disorder issues that I had. And so I did that. And it took me about 3 years of really hard work. I joined a CrossFit gym. I started running every day. I started reading just mindset books and just started telling myself positive things every day, like things that I liked about myself, and really worked not only on my physical appearance, but on my mental state and how I felt about myself. And it took a lot of work, but after about 3 years, I was the happiest and healthiest I've ever been in my life. And so that would have been right around springtime of 2019. And I'll try and throw some pictures up in here too, to kind of give you a reference of my journey through that time period. And now I did mention one of the things that I did in 2016 was I gave up drinking. I gave up drinking completely for a little over a year. I have not been drunk one time since before I gave up drinking, but I do occasionally have a glass of wine or a small glass of whiskey, but I don't have more than one, maybe two drinks. And I don't even do that very often. I would say I probably haven't had a single drink in several months. So I really was able to tackle that beast. I call it a beast because alcoholism does run in a portion of my family, and it is hereditary, so it's definitely something that I'm conscious of, but I have control of that, and I don't let that become an issue. I'll never let that become an issue again. That was the most miserable time in my life, and I don't ever want to go back to that. But in 2019, I was not the smallest as far as weight is concerned that I've ever been in my life, in my adult life, but I was the healthiest. I was about 190 pounds. I was strong. I was running every day. I liked who I was, which to me was the most important thing. I felt like I was a good example for, if I were to ever have a daughter, that's the type of mom I would want for my daughter. And then shortly after that, I found out that I was pregnant and we were expecting our first child. And so I just kind of, I don't know. I know that working out during pregnancy is not bad, but I was so fearful of having a miscarriage. Like even when I tried to run when I was pregnant, the whole time I was running, I was just thinking, what if I fell? Or, when I was lifting weights, I was like, am I lifting too much? Am I gonna hurt the baby? And my doctor told me that as long as I wasn't overdoing it and I was doing what I've always been doing, it wasn't an issue, and that it was healthy for me to work out and that I should be working out. But for whatever reason, I hit a mental block with that, and I just couldn't do it. I stopped completely working out, and because I wasn't working out, I wasn't feeling as good, and I wasn't, it's weird, but when you're working out, you crave healthy food, or at least I did. I enjoyed eating healthy. It's all I wanted. I didn't want the sugar. I didn't want the junk. But when I stopped working out, and it might have had something to do with being pregnant too, but that's all I craved. I craved junk, things that I'd never craved before. One of the things that I craved was Cool Ranch Doritos with taco dip and pickles, which is really, really weird. And that's something I would have never even eaten. I didn't even like chips. But for whatever reason, that was what I wanted, and I ate it a lot. And I slowly started gaining more weight than what my doctor wanted me to gain during my pregnancy. And by the end of my pregnancy, I had gained over 60 pounds. And I really thought that when I had my son, that weight would fall off. I was like, no big deal. As soon as I have my son, I'll get back into working out. I'll get back into eating healthy. It's fine. But that didn't happen. And in fact, I struggled really hard after he was born. I don't want to say most women, this is a very controversial topic, but when women breastfeed, a lot of times they experience weight loss. Well, I really wanted to breastfeed. That was what I wanted for my child. And I tried really, really hard for weeks. But it came to a point where I got really sick right after my son was born. I was sick for a couple weeks, and I mean really sick. And I just wasn't making milk. I was trying, I was pumping, I was doing all of the things, and I just wasn't able to do it. And so I had to make the decision to switch to formula because it's what my son needed. He needed to be fed. So I had to get over my, idealistic dreams, I guess, that I had of breastfeeding and just do what I had to do. And that was when I started gaining even more weight. I was expecting to be losing weight after I had my son, and that didn't happen. I kept gaining. And I started really struggling with postpartum depression about 10 weeks after my son was born. And it got to a point where I did consult my doctor. We did get that addressed. And it took me a long time to work on that, and then actually I'm still working on it. It's still something that I'm struggling with almost every day. But I am working on it and I'm conscious of it. And that's another reason that I really feel the need to focus on myself a little bit more. You know, I spend all day working, making sure that we have food on the table, making sure things are cleaned up, making sure we have laundry done, making sure my son is taken care of, and, you know, all of the things that a mom does. And I need to put energy into taking care of myself too. And so that's what really prompted me to wanting to do this. And we had, you'll kind of see the banner in the background still, but we had my son's first birthday party last weekend. And again, it was a picture that was taken of me, a full body picture that was taken of me that really made me realize how far out of control I've let it get and that I really need to reel it back in. In 2016, the picture that I showed you, I was 275 pounds. I'm not far from that now. And that really upsets me. And I don't want to say it does upset me, but really it is motivating me to get back to the version of myself that I love and that version that I was in 2019 before I got pregnant. And so that's what I'm really going to focus on this year. You know, 2020 was a stressful year for everybody, but becoming a new mom and dealing with a lot of emotions that I've never dealt with before, and then also struggling with gaining all the weight that I'd worked 3 years to lose. It was an incredibly hard year for me. And so 2021 is going to be the year that I focus on me and doing what I need to do to take care of myself. So now that I'm at a point where I feel like I'm in a routine with Miles and I am confident in the mother that I am, it's time to focus on being happy again and doing the things that I used to do, like eating healthy and enjoying eating healthy and working out and enjoying seeing my progress week to week on, you know, I'm able to lift more, or I'm able to run further, or I ran that mile faster than I did last week. Those were the things that used to really motivate me to keep going. And if you saw my Instagram, and I'll try and post a few pictures of some of my Instagram posts from that time, I used to post about it all the time and how happy I was. And I really just want to get back to that. And so I am doing this on YouTube, even though it's incredibly uncomfortable and puts me in a vulnerable position. I'm doing it because it's going to help hold me accountable. And, you know, if I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And I've promised myself I'm going to be more consistent with posting on YouTube, as well as, you know, getting back in shape. And so this is one way of doing both of those things that I promised to myself this year. And, you know, I'm not going to do anything crazy. I'm not going to do a crash diet. I'm never going to starve myself to lose weight ever again. That was probably the worst thing I could have done for myself. But I'm just going to start, you know, cutting out some of the junk, and I'm going to take it slowly. And, you know, I'm not going to cut everything out at once, because then I'm going to get burnt out and I'm not going to want to do it. I'm going to cheat, and then it's just going to be a downward spiral from there. So I'm just going to start making healthier decisions, and I'm going to take every meal at a time, one meal at a time, every day, you know, just one day at a time. Just going to do it slowly, and I'm going to focus on small goals, and I'm going to only weigh myself once a week. I used to be in a really bad habit of weighing myself multiple times a day, and that's just ridiculous. And so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to weigh myself once a week. I'm going to write it down in a book. I'm going to measure myself once every 2 weeks and write it down in that same book. And I'm also going to take some pictures throughout my journey, just so that I can physically see the difference, because it was pictures that showed me how bad it had gotten, and I want it to be pictures that shows me how good it is now. And so I am hoping that you guys will follow me in my journey. And, you know, if you don't want to, that's totally cool. If you came here strictly for homesteading videos, that's fine. I'm going to put all of these videos in a separate playlist so that you'll know that that's what this is. And then, you know, from there, I just hope that if any of you are struggling with this, I know weight and, you know, healthy eating and binge eating and eating disorders and drinking and postpartum depression, all of these things are kind of considered taboo topics. Not a lot of people talk about them, but I think that we should, because I think there's a lot more people that are going through the same struggles or similar struggles that you're going through, and we should all be there to help each other. So I'm going to try to post at least one fitness related video a week, and maybe it'll be showing you what I'm eating, maybe it'll be showing you what I'm doing to work out, maybe it'll be showing you progress, but that's my goal. 2021, I'm going to work on myself, I'm going to work on building my homestead, and it's going to be a great year. Another thing I wanted to make sure that I addressed in this video is that we got new logos for My Lilac Hill just this past week. And so I have them included on the thumbnail for you to look at. We have two different logos. The one that has the farmyard scene will be our primary logo, and the other logo is our alternate and will mostly be used for some of the handmade products that we make and sell. More to come on the logos and what we will be using them for, but I did want to let you know that we will be transitioning all of our social medias over to include the new logos. So if you guys are not following me on Instagram, head on over there, follow me there. I post there a lot more frequently than I post on YouTube, and you'll see a lot more of my fitness journey as well as homesteading related posts. And then be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the bell for notifications so that you'll be notified every time that I upload a video. And until next time, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.